I'm sure we will not regret this. Hey! Thank you for joining the Escape With Me book club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Caitlin.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today, we are going to Fantasy Kingdom Korea.
Guess is as good as mine.
Oh my gosh, that really does say Korea.
Oh no, you read it out loud. Kyria?
Kyrrria. Probably Kyria, but it's really close. Oh well, this is her choice. Published April 25th, 1997. Ella Enchanted is a fairy tale retelling of Cinderella. In the endless seas of Cinderella retellings, where does this one land? And how does it compare to the beloved movie? Which is pretty great. The movie came out, I want to say 2004. 7 years later.
That's pretty quick. It's a pivotal movie for my childhood.
Great movie. Anne Hathaway is amazing in it. I really wished I could rewatch it for this episode, but it's streaming literally nowhere. What the heck?
Yeah, you have to pay for it. It's rude.
Who made this? Somebody has streaming rights. Miramax. It's an independent.
Yeah, Google lied to me and said that it was on Netflix. It's not.
It's an independent film and television production and distribution company owned by Ben Media Group and Paramount Skydance Corporation. Paramount owns something, right? They're Paramount Plus.
Yeah, they got Paramount Plus.
Why is Ella Enchanted not on Paramount Plus? Sadness. Very good movie. But yeah, that's my background for this. I watched the movie and I loved it. And then I tried to read the book, and it was a book with Anne Hathaway on the cover because the movie had come out. And I got about to the point where the friend was a terrible friend, and no further. I was bored.
I was about to say, I think that's the first chapter.
I didn't even make it through the first chapter at all. And then in middle school, I read Fairest, which we've already reviewed for the channel, and I think you would have an absolute field day with the body dysmorphia present in that book.
Oh, yikes.
It was pretty rough. It's the friend from finishing school, so she's Snow White.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, instead of having fairy blood, she has dwarven blood. And so she's a really good singer, but she hates how she looks, but it's okay. A boy likes her, so now she thinks she's pretty.
Yeah.
And she over the top talks about how good pretty people are and how terrible ugly people are. And oh, by the way, the king, a 40-year-old man, marries a 16-year-old.
Oh, man, this book is checking all the same boxes, unfortunately.
Yeah, this one's better.
So I'm noticing some themes.
This one's better than that one, but not by much. Yeah, I definitely noticed some stuff. But I read Ferris in middle school and I liked it, and we read it again. And as an adult, I looked at it and I'm like, oh dear.
Yeah.
And then I also read another book by her, Ever, which I don't remember. I don't know if it's based on a fairy tale, but he's like a wind god and he falls in love with a mortal, which I'm sure is one of the Greek myths that I just can't think of the very specific one because that happens in all of them. So I can't say for exactly, but I liked them in middle school and I just never picked up Ella Enchanted again. Nah, I'm good. I'll read these other two by her.
Yeah.
And be happy with that. And so coming back around, I read Ferris and I'm like, I have to read Ella Enchanted. That's the famous one. How are you telling me I know more about Ever that nobody in the world read than I do about Ella Enchanted, which caused a movie?
Yeah.
So been sitting on it for a little bit, and we just wanted a little break-see from Twisted Tales. We just read whatever the heck the Nightmare Before Christmas book was.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we'll just pick a short, nice little fairy tale. And then I get like halfway through the book and I felt obliged to text you. I had never read this book before.
Yeah. Mm.
And it really is halfway through the book.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, this has nothing to do with the movie. This is making me physically uncomfortable. I hate this. And then I texted you and you're like, it's not that different from the movie. I'm like, just wait.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is I kept waiting for an intense plot diversion. And instead what happened was it just never did the movie. The movie was the plot diversion, not this.
Yeah. Yeah. This is completely different. The movie was like, cool, we'll take the essence.
Yes. Inspired by.
We like the idea that Cinderella is under a curse and she wants the curse off, but we're gonna throw in more time with the prince so they're actually cute together. But actually, he has an evil uncle and his parents are dead, and the evil uncle wants to kill the prince and is gonna use Ella Enchanted as that. And also, Ella has magical powers through her thing, because the book is very clear that she can only do things she can physically do. But then you have the movie where she's running away and the prince is like, stop, and she stops in midair, which is a little bit more fun.
Oh my, see, again, it's been so long. All I could really tell from the beginning was like, she's obviously a kid in this book and she's an adult-ish in the film.
She's supposedly 16 and she is an older teenager when she does this.
That's true.
She feels like a 12-year-old.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. Developmentally, she's a 12-year-old, for sure.
But we'll get there. So yeah, but the movie was, like I said, an evil plot by an uncle to kill the prince, and oh no, Ella's gonna have to kill the prince, but she breaks the spell and it's fine, and she's chasing after Lucinda on these adventures, and she adventures with the prince, and oh, there's this, I don't remember what he is, the third one. Is he an elf? Is he a fairy? He's small.
Again, it's been so long. I genuinely don't remember.
And then all the musical numbers. It's a jukebox musical, which means they use modern day songs and just throw them in wherever. And honestly, to this day, I cannot listen to Somebody to Love by Queen without thinking of Ella Enchanted.
Yes, I'm pretty sure this is where that song was ingrained into my memory. Obviously, I've heard its original version. It's fantastic. But Anne Hathaway belting this song, oh, it's so good.
And there's a couple other ones, but The Giant's Wedding and Somebody to Love,
yes,
is just ingrained in my brain.
So good.
So yeah, also the dad is nice and he's like, Ella, oh no, we must marry and I have married this person anyway. Allow me to go off on my trip except I die. I'm pretty sure he dies.
Yeah, I think so.
And then she's a terrible person, but no.
He just sucks.
The father's the literal worst.
Sucks. But he owns it at some point, honestly.
He owns it the whole time. That does not make it better.
No, but at least it's identified.
And so, yeah, the movie was like, we're going to take all of that. No finishing school. They throw in a best friend. Technically, she has a friend in finishing school, but it doesn't last that long. And like I said, she ends up being Snow White in Fairest, which I did not catch that when I read Fairest because I hadn't read Ella Enchanted, obviously. So realizing this now. But yeah, that movie is nothing to do with this. And so a part of me was like, oh yeah, we should watch the movie and we should do a compare. And then I read the book and I'm like, there is nothing to compare. The Venn diagram of what is the same is like a little sliver.
Very, very little. Again, this is where when you watch Ella Enchanted, you never noticed that it said inspired by, not based on.
Loosely. So that's my background with it, though. Let's talk about the author a little bit.
Yeah, you have an extensive amount on this author.
First of all, because normally I get like a little blurb on authors' websites, and they're like, oh, here's a little bit about me. It's like a little bit longer than the back of the book. Nah, this lady has paragraphs on her about page. Like, I didn't even need to go to the Wikipedia page. I did just to double check, but she's like, no, my website is about me, and I appreciate that about her. Thank you. That's what I wanted. I wanted to learn about you.
Yeah. Tell me about yourself, please.
But yeah, extensive, and I didn't even include all of the stuff.
Wow.
So anyway, she is 4'11",
Short queen.
which is a pretty fun fact. I have a sister-in-law that I'm pretty sure is 5 foot even, which I think is what Sabrina Carpenter is.
Ah.
This is a very small woman. She has fairy blood.
There it is. That's a good connection.
But she's from Upper Manhattan. She did theater growing up. She wrote a lot of stories and poems, but she never thought, oh, I could be an author. And so she ended up going to school in Ohio and then in New York. And she graduated as a philosophy major, which she specifically said she thinks is a useless degree to get if you're a writer. But I don't know about that. I think that's a little unfair. I mean, it's very different writing, but it's still a lot of considering things and stuff. I don't know, it's useless, but she's an author and she's a philosophy major, so she'd know better than me. But anyway, she also likes to point out that she is Phi Beta Kappa, which if I were Phi Beta Kappa, I would also put it on everything. So
yeah.
So Phi Beta Kappa is an honor society, but it's the oldest honor society and most prestigious honor society in the US. So very, very fancy. So I'm not surprised she put that on there. I would also put that on there. But she also met her husband in college. So that's always fun. This is her first book. It took 9 years for someone to pick it up.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's because they were picking up this specific book or she was writing different books for 9 years and shopping them. And then this is the first one that got. But hey, for her first book, she got a Newbery honor.
Which, okay, we'll talk about that later.
1997. We need to remember that.
I still don't understand, but okay.
Culturally, I understand some of the things that I now have an issue with that going under the radar during that time period, especially when we consider the culture of the 2000s and how toxic that was, especially for certain things, which we will get to. But she wrote a play in the 70s and performed it on stage. She did this, she did that. She did a bunch of things before she started writing. And she started with an art appreciation book for children called The King's Cure. And I don't know if she self-published that or that got something else, but that's pretty interesting. And then, like I said, Ella Enchanted, she got picked up, got the Newbery Award, published several other books after that. Most of them being, from what I can tell, fairy tale retellings.
Yeah.
Which is fair. There's plenty of authors. Marissa Myers, who does the Lunar Chronicle series, all of her books are basically retellings of stuff, which is fine if you do it well. But there is that second caveat, isn't there? This book reminds me a lot of Princess and the Frog, in that it inspired an amazing movie. It inspired the Princess and the Frog, where instead of him turning into a prince, she turns into a frog. The movie did it so much better, though. But reading back, I'm like, okay, this is a really interesting twist. I'm glad you thought of it, but the book is boring as crap.
Yeah.
I will give this book not boring, just concerning. Or boring. I don't know. I go back and forth.
Yeah.
But let me just say this. Tell me if this doesn't make a lot of sense about her personality. One of her major hobbies is fitness. That made some things make a lot of sense. You can tell from this book and from Fairest that she views gluttony as the worst sin. That is the nastiest, vilest, worst a person can be is gluttonous.
Okay, that's fair, yeah, especially with Olga and the stepsisters.
The way she went out of her way to describe them eating specifically and to be like, oh yeah, the cook is great, but she's fat. And I'm going to bring up that she's fat a ton of times.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say that's a lot more reflective of 2000s culture, like you mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Not necessarily, I had to put myself back. For me, in this day and age, fitness would be like Ella was really physical and great at running, but Ella was obviously very physically clumsy in this book.
Yeah.
But if I project myself back into 2000s level body trauma, it's more appropriate.
Yeah, so this is 1997, which is going to fuel the 2000s. Remember, early 2000s, Hilary Duff going on TV and being asked, you're fat, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Paris Hilton wearing a shirt and being called a whale.
Yeah. Oh gosh, don't remind me.
The tiniest little things. No, this is the culture of models being on cocaine and eating cotton balls so that their ribs will show.
Yeah.
You have to remember, this is what fed that 2000s freak out, which got everyone to be like, okay, anorexia is a problem. We need to talk about this. I like to think we're better now.
Slightly, yeah.
But still, yeah, you just got to remember. And even in our childhood, I think it was pretty common. The fat person was usually portrayed as bad because they were lazy or gross or something.
Mandy's probably the only person that's not portrayed like that, I would say. Everybody else, yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of held against them, but not as bad as this book. Ferris does it way worse because she views herself as fat. And it's yikes. I'm very concerned. But just to go on a little bit from this, age level, it's mid-lit.
Yes. Strong.
Strong mid-lit. I don't even know if mid-lit's a category in 1997 or when it came about, because YA didn't boom until Twilight, really. So I have no idea. So maybe technically children's in the time period, because even in my library, mid-lit books are still in a section of the children's area. But it makes me feel very weird calling this children's.
Yeah.
It's mid-lit. Because we have, and I don't know a better way to put this, robbing of personal autonomy. Ella has literally no autonomy to the point it's gross. And there's like a love potion on a 16-year-old to fall in love with like a 60-year-old dude. And it's very uncomfortable.
Yes, that part I was starting to get like, oh no, this isn't good. Yeah.
I was very creeped out. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's mean-spirited. It's not great up until that point. But the love potion made me very uncomfortable. And then there is physical child abuse. Honestly, emotional, kind of. I don't know.
Oh, definitely emotional.
Yeah, but definitely physical.
Yeah.
There is blood. Death of a parent is a huge thing in the book. Animal cruelty and death. And there is gore when it comes to the ogres.
Just having a conversation about how we're going to eat you.
Very, very concerning. Judge a book by its cover. That's a girl.
Yep.
The one I had is this girl reading a book and smiling up at you, but she looks 12.
Really? I don't think that's the cover I had. I had the one of her running away from the ball in the gown and everything. Again, still looks super young, but...
Well, it's literally a girl looking up from a book. Let me see. And later ones, the one that pops up immediately when I Google it, it's very obvious she's in a dress. There's a pumpkin carriage behind her. And it makes it very clear that it's Cinderella. There's a cover that makes her look like the princess from Shrek. She has the same style, the green, and her hair's brown, even though it's black.
I had the 25th anniversary cover, if you see that one online, which is very pretty.
Is it the one where she's in like a bluish green dress and there's a pumpkin, or... Oh, here's another one where she's looking up from the book, but that one has black hair.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. The animated one, not the picture.
Ah, yeah. No, it was a real person, just like they had for Fairest and Ever when I read it. Looks nothing like the description, but it's fine. This is back in the day, you just slap a kid on it. It's children's. Look, there's a child.
Looks about right.
You are also a child. Read the book.
Yeah, definitely not great. I don't mind the original cover with the girl who looks like Fiona. And like I said, I didn't mind my book cover too.
I mean, it's fine, but did you read the book?
No.
No.
I think maybe once they describe her as being in like a green dress, so...
Yeah, but yeah, that's a girl. I would never have known picking this up. I didn't know for the longest time that this was an Ella Enchanted book. Fairest, I feel like it's hit you over the head with the fact that it is Snow White. Even the title, Fairest, which Ella Enchanted, anyway, I didn't get anything from the cover that I didn't realize until I was an adult that, oh, duh, that's Cinderella.
I mean, the movie's pretty clear on it in that she becomes the maidservant to the two evil stepsisters.
Yeah.
From that point, it's pretty clear. And then they add in she cleans the cinders, in the last 12 pages of the book?
Something like that. But the book that we have been talking about on and off. I've never thought too hard about the curse.
Yeah, you really shouldn't.
Ella's born, she cries because baby. And she gets cursed by a fairy to always be obedient. It basically was, she said, stop crying, and so I stopped crying. And then immediately I was like, is there a time limit for this? Did she just never cry again?
Yeah.
Would her mom have to command her to cry as she feels like?
Because that's how it works when she grows up, is if they tell her to stop doing something, but then they want her to do it, they have to tell her to start doing it again.
Yeah. There's a point where her dad or somebody is like, be happy, and she has to get commanded to not be happy.
Yes.
Oh, the fairy. The fairy is like, hey, you should be happy. And then the cook has to be like, please feel however it is you are feeling. And this was before it specifically said I can't do things magically, because I'm remembering the movie literally gets stopped in midair. But that's a parameter, is she has to do the thing. But then there are times where it's like, you have to do something, and then she doesn't have to do that later. And I just started thinking very deeply about this for the first time in forever. I don't know if that's me or the book being inconsistent. I wanted more. I just wanted more framework here, because she's like, oh, someone commanded me to give my mother's necklace to her. Hattie is like, hey, give me the necklace, which happens in the movie. And it's way more satisfying in the movie when Ella snatches it back versus in the book where it's in parentheses, I think, oh, and I got it back. But she's like, hey, give me the thing. And so Ella gives it to her, and she's like, oh, but I can't even take it back. I can't even think about taking it back because I have now given it to her. So this is like a forever thing. I can't just do something and then undo the thing. But then there are times that she does that. I'm very confused.
You can't think about it. You're thinking about it way too hard.
I'm thinking about it more than the author did, I know, but...
Yes, you are.
It's not until she's 5 years old that she overeats a cake that they're like, oh, this is a problem. That's the first time Ella's aware of it.
Yes, that's her memory, which again, those people were there for the curse had to happen. They knew it was a thing. They saw it. So you're telling me for 5 years they just careless didn't even notice this child did every single thing? Do you have any idea how diligent I am about my toddler? When she does something just slightly off the wall, I'm like, what the actual crap was that? Or when I notice she does something right. So, that's weird.
Yeah, the cook was like, eat, and then she kept eating, and then she got sick.
Yeah, was crying while she was eating.
Yeah, and the cook's like, oh, shoot, that's right, the curse. How do you forget that?
Yeah.
The curse inconsistency is beside the point. Okay, here's my only issue with Ella is I get it. I can totally understand why she feels very rebellious about things, because she doesn't get that choice, and so she's going to take her free will however she can get it, which is by rebelling. But Ella comes across as very mean-spirited, and her mother is insanely childish.
Yeah, and people compliment her about it.
The prince is like, oh my gosh, you're so funny because you're being mean about other people. And then Ella's like, oh my gosh, I love my mother. We would go into the trees and hide and throw acorns at people.
Yeah, I mean, she's silly.
She's childish. They're silly. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. And we slid up and down the banisters, which was fun. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Princess Diaries. We loved it when the queen did that. But as she went along, she was talking about how she spent time with her mom. And it was just, if your mom hadn't died and your dad wasn't like, hey, let's go to finishing school so you can get an education, would she have gotten an education? I don't know. Maybe that's just the memories that she has that she loves about her mom. And the mom did teach her stuff, but I don't know. How old was she when she died? I think she was 15 when her mom passed. And I was like, do you know how to read? Oh, word.
Apparently she did just fine. She knew how to read just fine.
Apparently she did just fine, but it's like you're entering school at 15 after being homeschooled seemingly terribly. Granted, finishing school didn't really require that much rigorous education, just practice skills, so it worked out. But yeah, her dad's awful. Terrible. They're at the funeral and she's crying and her dad's like, leave, you're making a scene.
Yeah, yikes.
At your mother's funeral.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you talk and be seen?
And cry. How dare you mourn? Rough is all I can say. All of his scenes are so rough, to the point where I'm like, yeah, maybe having a dead dad in the movie was better than whatever the heck this was. He is not only terrible to his daughter, he's a swindler and a terrible person. Literally later on, he has to marry Rich. Well, he decides to marry Rich after it doesn't work out selling his daughter off.
Yeah, to a 60-year-old man.
He has to marry Rich because he lost all of his money tricking some dwarves into buying a house he didn't have the deed for, so he needed to pay them back.
Yep, he's bad at his job.
He's a swindler and he's bad at it. That is idiotic. Because in the beginning, he's like, oh, I have this very nice art that's done by the pupil of this dude. but I'm gonna say it was done by the dude, and you're like, okay, that's dishonest, but I guess you're not terribly hurting anyone. But yeah, then he does that. So you're a terrible person and you're an idiot? We're Americans. You can't be both. We'll have some very healthy respect for you if you're bad and good at it.
True.
Literally all the Disney villain worship.
That's very true.
But you can't be a bad person and inept. You can be inept and a good person, that we call them golden retriever personalities. We love them. The internet is filled with them. You can't be both. So he is both, and he's terrible, and I hate him.
But he is both, and he sucks, yeah.
He sucks so much. But the movie just goes ahead and is like, Cinderella story, you know it. He gets remarried, he dies, she's a servant in the household. The movie is bam, bam, bam.
Classic, yes.
And this book is like, nah, she's not even your stepmom until like 2/3 of the way through the book.
Yeah, you really get to know the family before they're actually bound together.
So 2/3 of the book happens before the movie's like, yeah, we'll pick up there, basically. Also in the movie, she doesn't know the prince. She has to meet the prince, but in the book, they've known each other for some time, it seems like. Or at least he's known her mom, and then they immediately bond and they're best friends very quickly.
Yeah, it is pretty cute. I will say, I do like Char. I liked him in the original film. I like him in this.
I do like Char. I don't know, I like their meeting in movie bitter. I like a good meet cute.
Oh, yes, where they meet on the road, right?
Yeah, and he hides that he's the prince, and she's like, oh my goodness. And I don't know, it's very cute, but not so. Also, some of their banter is just mean-spirited.
Yeah, again, because she's childish. She's 16, but, I mean, I guess you could explain it. She's been sheltered. She's been protected because of the curse all that time.
Yeah, she's been very sheltered because she's only hung out with her mom and her cook, apparently. She doesn't really have friends. She doesn't try to have friends because she tried to have a friendship and it didn't work out.
Yeah, immediately got manipulated.
But, I don't know, the way they talk about centaurs.
Yeah, that was questionable.
Where they're just like, oh my gosh, they're so dumb. Ha ha ha, that's so crazy. They don't have language. Idiots.
Yeah. And then they keep them as caged pets when basically canonically all of the creatures are sentient in this world. Ugh.
Yeah, literally the only thing they have against them is they're like, oh yeah, you can tell they're unintelligent because their eyes are glassy. I felt like she was trying to do something there where she was trying to be a little different. She's like, oh, well, my centaurs are more like horses. But even horses are very intelligent.
Yeah.
Try to go up to a horse person and be like, stupid animal, you can't talk. They will murder you.
Yeah.
They didn't spend $20,000 on a horse for you to insult it. And even when horses are stupid, they're so, I don't know. It was just very awkward for me for them to bond over the fact that something can't speak and him be like, oh my goodness, I'll get you one. I don't know. It's 2025 and they literally have dogs calling them their children and saying they give birth when they have an animal. So maybe just completely different world now.
Yeah, fair.
But I don't know. She does so many things that just come off as mean-spirited that I'm like, oh no, girl. Oh well. Goes to finishing school, makes a friend. She's forced to learn finishing school stuff. She runs away from finishing school.
Yeah, that's the whole middle part of the book.
Several chapters, but it's very quick. Also, going back to before the finishing school, they have ogres and a menagerie, but they can talk to people, and that's a bad thing because ogres in this world can have some sort of magic, and when they talk to you, charm person, basically, which is an interesting twist. Some of the twists I'm like, this is inventive. I like this. I like that the Cinderella thing is a curse. I think that's inventive. I like that. I like the ogre thing. I think it's inventive and it's fun and whatever. But like I said, some of it, I don't mind the centaurs being unintelligent, but like I said, Ella's jokes were just yikes. And Char's like, oh my goodness, you're so funny. He's like 18. Which, yeah, it's fair. Okay.
Not the worst age gap we've seen.
Oh, not the age gap. I just meant he also comes off as childish. But every time I read it, it just felt like she was 12 and he was 14.
Yeah. But granted, kids are
different. Maybe they're just more grown up now because the internet, but
they definitely have more exposure.
I wasn't really on Ella's side for anything. Not that I'm not on her side. I agree that the curse is terrible and I don't blame her for doing whatever the heck she had to. She leaves finishing school because she learns that her dad's going to a giant wedding, and she thinks Lucinda's going to be there because wedding. And fairies are at all weddings and births, which okay.
Yeah, from the movie.
But she straight up just leaves.
She said, bye, I'm going to go.
And then almost immediately gets eaten by ogres a little bit. She stops by some elves.
Yeah, the poor elves are so nice, and they give her the steed, and then she wakes up and looks over and says, oh, that's a thing of bones. That had to have been my horse. The elves are gonna really hate that. And I'm like, what this is so gory. Why?
You're not reacting appropriately.
No. Also, so there was a line in there that was kind of throwaway, and maybe I read it wrong, but when she wakes up, before she interacts with them, the ogres, they give maybe one command, and the ogres say, told you this girl was obedient. So it makes me wonder if they were telling her to do things in her sleep, and she is also obedient while unconscious, which, again, that adds a whole other layer to the curse complexity.
That's the thought, because I was literally like, girl, all of that's happening, and you're just like, oh no, ogres.
Yeah.
So, no, that's a good one where they're just like, oh no, you should totally stay asleep while we eat this horse. They make a big deal about it, but she's small. So, you're making a big deal about, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have a leg, I'm gonna have an arm or a hand, and then we should go get something for a snack. And I'm like, canonically, she is small. That is like 2 chews and you're at the bone, my man. Stop making this such a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention that she steals Hattie's wigs, which I go back and forth on. If I liked Ella better, I think I would think that was poetic and awesome and yay for you, but I'm not fond of Ella. And maybe I'm just coming at it an adult and I'm thinking if I had this child and I was responsible for this child, I would be exhausted.
Yeah, she would be a lot.
But if I was like middle school me, I think I would think that was awesome.
Yeah, because Hattie does suck. That's unequivocal.
Yeah, but they're just brats, both of them. Unredeemable. This author is like, no gray characters.
No.
This is 97. We got good and evil. There is no redeeming qualities of any of these people. But I point this out because I very much doubt 14-year-olds are clicking onto our video.
Very unlikely.
I'm here for you parents who are like, oh, my child picked this up in the library. Maybe you want to have a conversation with them about some stuff that happens in this book, please. But yeah, they're terrible. But she's a linguist, which I think is actually very interesting.
And appropriate for a girl who's probably been inside most of her life and has just read books. But also language comes from oral recognition and speaking it. So...
But there are people that have that gift. I knew a girl, she was a foreign exchange student from Spain. So growing up, she had Portuguese grandparents. So she spoke Spanish and Portuguese. And then as she went along, she picked up borders, French. She picked up English because that was one of the courses she had to take. She's a foreign exchange student, comes to America speaking English. Although she did learn British English. And so sometimes, you have the things where she called something pantaloons. And I died. My 10th grade self could not handle the pantaloons. But picked that up really well. She spoke English very well. You had to take a foreign language in high school, and she was like, I'm going to get a new one. She started picking up Latin.
What the heck? That's impressive.
Yeah, so we're in 10th grade, and she is speaking Spanish, Portuguese, English, French, Latin, and then goes home and starts taking German. And she's like, yeah, I want to work for the Spanish embassy when I get older, and you have to learn like a minimum of 8 languages.
Wow.
So there are people that just have gift of tongues and they just pick up languages. She was very good at picking them up. So I totally believe it. I think, yay, give her something other than the spell. That's great. I'm glad she has something. That's very awesome for her. She learns ogre-ish. I don't know what it's called, but she learns the ogre language, and apparently the magic is infused in the words and not in the beings, because she's able to say the things and then they have to follow it. And then this other guard who's like half fluent is able to also kind of do it sometimes. So something in the wordings, which I have magic questions about, but it's okay. So she's able to like convince them to go to sleep. She gets rescued by the prince and the 8 knights that she felt like naming every single one of. Even though only one of them's important, we had to know that the knights included John, Avery, Burton, Percival, Martin, Stephen, and Stephen's the only important one, who apparently has a wife, a dog, and 4 daughters, who I feel like he loves in that order.
Accurate.
Saves them. Stephen takes her to the wedding because she's like, oh, I'm meeting my dad. That's totally why I'm going. Goes to the wedding, avoids the dad, finds Lucinda, who has just cursed the giants that just got married into you're never allowed to not be in each other's presence.
Yeah, you will be together always because you obviously love each other so much. And they were immediately like, we love each other, but no, that's bad.
There's other fairies, and they try to convince her that it's a horrible thing she's done. How could you? And they try to be really reasonable about it, but I don't know. I'd been pretty honest. I don't want to be around when my husband's pooping. Like, have we really thought this through, Lucinda? Have we really thought this through? I would have been much more blunt than they were. They were trying to be tactful and be like, oh, what if she does an annoying noise and he hates it? And she's like, no, but love.
Yeah, it's like a 4-year-old who understands what love is, right? And it's like, oh, well, of course you want to be together all the time. Lucinda is also a child. There are very few adults in this book now that I realize.
Very little. Because if there were more responsible adults, we wouldn't need a child to... Well, I mean, she doesn't save anything, actually. In the movie, she saves the realm, but in the book, she just is kind of tormented now that I think about it. She doesn't really save anything. Huh. Well, if there were responsible adults around the child, then she wouldn't be able to go on adventures. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, my line doesn't apply here. She doesn't even make Lucinda rethink herself. Mandy's the one that does it, the cook.
Yeah, which I did appreciate that. I thought that was good. It took her long enough. It really did take her long enough, but...
Yeah, I'm very shocked she didn't do that earlier. But no, really, what did Ella do in this book?
Not much. She charmed some ogres.
Holy crap, when the main character is not even the main character. She just goes places and things happen. She makes a choice once to go to the giant's wedding.
But nothing actually happens.
And I think that's the only choice she makes in this book. Oh, she chooses to go to the balls. I guess that counts.
Yeah. And in the end, right, jump to the end, she chooses not to marry him, which in turn breaks her curse. So.
But yeah, wow. Not even saving the world. Holy crap, what are we doing here? Lunar Chronicles has ruined me for all Cinderella adaptations. I'm like, you're not saving the world from a plague and moon people? Is this even Cinderella? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. I didn't really think about that. But yeah, goes to the wedding and is like, hey, Lucinda, like, this is terrible. You should help me. And she's like, no, you should just be happy about this. And so she goes home and she's happy and she can't wait to be obedient, which is great because her father has swindled some dwarves who figured it out real quick. And he needs her to marry rich. And this is the part where I'm very uncomfortable. And I think the point is to be uncomfortable even for young girls. So it's not doing something problematic in that, oh no, you should think that a massive age gap relationship like a 16-year-old and a 60-year-old is fine. But I'm just like, why is this here? We already know the father is a terrible person. Why did we have to? Because what he ends up doing is he gets the cook to get mushrooms from this elf, whatever. He has no money, but he can buy elf mushrooms.
Yeah.
And they cause a love potion, and the cook, who knows what it does, says, I'm gonna sub them out, and then tells the dad that, and then the dad's like, no, use the elf mushrooms for a love potion, and then the cook does that? I don't know. I felt weird.
Yeah, and even Ella was like, no, it's fine. Just do it. What the heck?
And then Mandy's confused why Ella's acting all in love. I don't know. Mandy, you are the adult here. That made me real uncomfortable that you were like, yeah, let me use the love mushrooms, and then later on be confused that she's in love with I don't know. How dare he sink this low? You helped him! Anyway, love potions her. She eats it because she wants to be obedient, and then has a love potion, and then is like obsessed with a 60-year-old, and the 60-year-old who literally doesn't eat the mushrooms because he doesn't like mushrooms.
Your plan foiled immediately.
Great. That's awesome. I'm so happy that we did this. But the Earl is like, hey, you went to finishing school? I don't know how it gets brought up. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but it comes to light that Ella went to school with his niece.
Yeah, yikes.
And she's younger than his niece. And he feels uncomfortable by this.
Yeah, he's like,
Except she flirts with him and says, but age is just a number. And he goes, you right.
Yep.
We will be married in the morning.
That's exactly what happens. He starts off very nice, very cordial. She finally says her age and he's taken aback. Like, you didn't tell me your daughter was a literal child. And then she comes into her own and she's like, but it doesn't matter. I'm cool, bro. And he's like, oh, okay, good. I'm glad we're all on the same page.
Yeah, very little flirting provocation. Shows up, I'm going to marry her. Except, oh, dang, he's not rich enough.
Yeah, too bad.
Oh, well, the dad will have to find somebody else. Oh, but he can't do it in time, so I guess he has to marry Dame Olga. Why did you do this? You absolute piece of trash. Attempted human trafficking nonsense. I know that's what people did historically, but this is a fantasy world.
Yeah.
So mad. I have no idea why that was a necessity for the story, but okay. Like I said, it's not glorified, it's creepy. I feel kids would get that, but it's just, as an adult, why? We were sitting down in the outline of the book and we're like, totally gonna add this. First draft, second draft, 1,000th draft, goes to the publisher. The publisher is like, yes, we love it. The Newberry people were like, yes, we love it. This scene.
Yep.
I don't think kids would realize how messed up it is until they're adults.
Nope. Especially that her father condoned it. You're supposed to be able to trust adults.
It's so gross. Very strange. Anyway, wedding happens. Something about Ella and Char hanging out and sliding down a banister. Like, banister sliding is fun. I'm fine with that, honestly. Like, as an adult, I'm like, that's fun. It's like a slide, but like a really big one.
Yeah.
But, like I said, it was a little childish. Just the whole book. There isn't a balancing out. I think that's it. There's no balancing out to be like, oh, I'm mature sometimes, but sometimes I'm immature.
Yeah, none.
You know, like a 16-year-old who feels like both an adult and a child. She's just kind of a child the whole time, but it's fine, whatever. Technically middle schoolers. Like, I think of Ariel. She was 16 and she would pull things where she would be really childish, but then she would do things and it was like, she's actually kind of an adult for this. She's her own person and stuff, but no balance here.
I will disagree with you on that. The only place where she shows any kind of maturity is in a couple of chapters when she realizes that Char loves her and she wants to be with him and she thinks through it and then she's like, wait a second. I am so easily manipulated and if I marry him, I could hurt him and therefore hurt the country and the greater good is not worth sacrificing for my own happiness. That is her one moment of maturity and it's a little out of place. I'm surprised it wasn't Mandy who decided to tell her that, but that's her one moment.
Yes, that is her one moment, and then she accomplishes it kind of like a child would. She just writes him back in Hattie's hand. It's like, actually, she's terrible, and she's the worst, and here's a letter she wrote. And she's like, ha-ha, I am Ella, and I am the villain of this story. Ha-ha-ha. It was just so over the top for me. In her book, in the movie, it just shows people. She's like, oh, show me da-da-da-da, and she can see the thing. But in the book can read correspondence and diary entries.
Yeah, incredibly intense not weapon of mass destruction, a security breach. Oh my gosh.
A little bit could be. Mandy, you're just handing this to a child. But thankfully we have that, so the plot has other perspectives. I don't know. That was kind of crazy to think about, that she could just open pages and read the personal diary or correspondence of whoever she wants to.
Yeah, or who's relevant in her life.
Yeah, so we learned that at first he's like, it's a trick, and then he falls for it hook, line, and sinker. So he hates her now, yay. Anyway, he was spending a year in a foreign country and he's coming back in the 3 balls, but oh no. Okay, here's the thing that I'm confused about. Okay, one of the things that I'm confused about, I think I've made it very clear I'm a confused person here.
So many things.
her father and the dame have, sorry, that sounded like the farmer and the dale. The father and the dame get married. Lucinda shows up. She's like, I'm not stupid. I'm going to give them the best gift, that they'll be in love with each other forever. Which honestly is better than some of the other gifts she's been giving out. So she got a point. She's stepped up. But so he's in love with her and he's like, oh my goodness, I love you, my sweet. You're amazing. You're so wonderful. We can be poor together, sort of. I'll just admit that I'm poor. But actually, when you're not standing right next to me, I could be like, I hate you, you're disgusting, I hate being in love with you, I'm going to leave. And so I'm like, is it a superficial love? Because also, she finds out that they're poor, and she immediately turns to Ella and is like, give me your jewelry and your money, you're a no good, and I feel like if you were in love with your husband, you would love his children, and I don't know.
No, and I think that's where A, you're thinking too hard again, but B, because to me, on its surface, it makes the most sense, right? It's the loopholes of it, like how Ella figured out, okay, I can do it, but I can also be vengeful, and I can do it wrong, or, be like a genie about it. It's the same thing for her dad. There is this all-consuming love, but he's able to realize, oh, I can leave. Like, I can still love her and be obsessed with her, but I don't have to be around her every moment of the day. And then for her, for the dame, I think it was she cannot be mad at him because of the spell, therefore she turns it on Ella. Yeah.
So she's taking it out on Ella, for sure. That is facts. But I was so curious about the parameters of these curses.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Because there are a lot of them, even though these are big magic. And that's a whole plot line, is what big magic is.
Oh, big magic, small magic. Don't even get me started on that.
Just change it to magic that matters and magic that doesn't.
Yeah, magic that has consequences and magic that doesn't.
I mean, technically they all have consequences, but she's like, yeah, I can speed up the sweeping, but I can't change the weather. And Ella has a really hard time with it because fair, she's a child, and children are not known for their nuances. I'm going to call her a child, even though she's 16 or 15 or whatever. Does not understand nuances, and as a child, that would seem really dumb because they have a hard time thinking out consequences because their frontal lobe has not developed. But Lucinda fascinates me, and mainly because she fascinated me in the movie. Because every time Ella opens that book, she's doing something ridiculous. Oh, I'm so fascinated by Lucinda. I want to know all about her magic. I want to learn everything. Tell me all of the things about the magic system here, but we will not.
I need to do an in-depth, full-scale professional interview to air on CNN about how you came up with this magic system.
I have so many questions about the boundaries. It goes halfway because there are books where it's like, don't think about it. It's magic. Magic is magic, whatever. But I think it's the fact that the author sometimes puts parameters on it where I'm like, okay, but what about the rest of the stuff here?
Yeah.
Because it's like Ella Enchanted. She can stop in midair because fairy magic. How does it happen? I don't know. Magic. It's fine.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it. Like, there's nothing to think about. Magic. All of the things. We can do all of the things. She becomes an amazing singer and this, that, and the other thing. But this one where it's like, oh, she can do this, but she can't do that. And sometimes she can do this and that. And I'm like, but now I have questions. Anyway, Prince is coming back. We're having 3 balls. Yay, we love to see it. I love when there's 3 balls. That's classic. All of the balls.
You gotta have it. Good number. Hey, and guess how far away we are from the end of the book? Probably about 30 pages away.
If that. Ella decides she wants to go to the ball. Mandy doesn't want to help her. It's raining outside and won't even give her an umbrella or anything. Too big a magic, aka she doesn't want her going to the ball because she's broken this dude's heart and she's like, nah, I'll just show up. It's a masquerade. I'll just wear a mask. It's fine. Which is very interesting because if you know anything about traditional masquerades, the dudes wore the masks and the women didn't because they were pretty. But here, it was all the women are wearing masks.
Yeah.
Maybe the dudes were. I can't remember. But anyway, you wear a mask and then you take it off because you're pretty. And you want the prince to see how pretty you. Because it's a whole plot line that she doesn't take her mask off. What does she look like? Maybe she's disfigured or this and that and the other thing. Or a criminal or whatever. But so despite the fact that Mandy is her fairy godmother, she loops Lucinda in, who at this point has renounced big magic because Mandy reverse psychologied her into actually living like a squirrel for 3 months. So yeah, 3 months squirrel, 3 months obedience, she realizes, oh no, I hate it. It was terrible. What have I ever done? All bad magic is bad, and I'm not going to do it anymore, which means I can't lift your curse. Dang it. We were halfway there. So Ella's kind of intelligent in this way. She's pretty good at inciting people. I will give her that. She does seem to have a good insight. But she's like, okay, Mandy, you won't even give me an umbrella? Considering all the crap Lucinda has done, she won't think this is big magic. And so she summons Lucinda, is like, hey, help me get to the ball. Lucinda's like, of course! I won't even conjure it out of nothing. I'll create it out of something. So clearly it's not big magic. It's just transformation. So she's gonna do all this quote-unquote little magic that Mandy's like, shake my head at. Gets her the carriage, makes it out of a pumpkin. Is like, hey, this isn't conjuration, it's transmutation. That's clearly lower magic, which I have thoughts about, but that's beside the point. The D&D wizard in me would like a word. But does that. He's like, I'll even give a time limit, so it only lasts this long. Obviously, little magic. So that's how we get the pumpkin. That's how we get midnight. She gives her a crown. And then they found the glass slippers, the prince and her, when they were gallivanting around the palace looking for secret passageways, which doesn't come up. The secret passageway never comes up again, and I was very frustrated because that felt like Chekhov's gun to me, where it's like, you can't mention, oh yeah, we're going to search around for a secret tunnel or passageway or whatever, and then they never go down the secret passageway. Okay.
Well, they never find it, right?
They never find it, and then they happen upon a pair of glass slippers in the garden? I have questions, but we're gonna just move on. Anyway, so she's wearing the glass slippers, and she has tiny feet because fairy blood. Tiny feet, glass slippers, pumpkin carriage, 3 balls.
And there's the Cinderella.
Yeah, it just felt like she was going Cinderella light for most of it, and then she got to the end, and she was like, and I'm just gonna pour the entire bucket.
Yep, here's all of it in the last 12 pages.
Really? It really is so short. She goes to the ball, talks to him. She creates a fake name, a fake persona, a fake background, which annoys me. She fakes all this stuff because he hates her. Ella, because, like I said, she's the most villainous villain, and she sent a letter, and it's in her own hand. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
She's married to some rich dude. Oh no. He's not very insightful, but that's fine. So she purposely goes out of her way to bring up things that she knows he's interested in, because she reads his diary and knows all the things about him, as well as all the letters she got, but still, I can't get over the diary thing. But then Ella pulls up, oh my gosh, he likes me, he wants to talk to me, he's picking me over all the people?
Yeah.
Ella, you're not this stupid.
Yeah, you went with because you're obviously manipulating him, and where I had a problem with that was okay, where are you going to realize how incredibly sad it is that he's falling in love with another person that's not you?
It's so not you. Goes out of her way to specifically be from a different country. And then at one point, okay, this is a little funny. 3 balls, goes there, talks to him, hangs out, whatever. Hattie hates her, whatever. You know, you've heard the story. But at the end of it, Prince Charles is like, so I just want to be friends. I'm never getting married.
Yeah, I am going to just be a friend.
You dramatic 18-year-old.
Yeah.
So over the top. Oh, my first child love didn't work out. I'm never marrying. I will never be in love ever again.
Woe is me.
I just thought it was really funny. But never gonna marry ever, and asks for her friendship when Hattie rips her mask off. And oh no, it's Ella. And Ella runs away from the ball. There are literally 12 pages left in this book.
Yeah, how? How is this happening?
Well, how it happens is she goes to the house, she puts on servant's clothes and cinder on her face, and then pretends it's not her, but he shows up with the glass slippers.
He's like, my girl, I'm not that dumb, which I appreciate that deviation from the original.
I don't know, sometimes it is a masquerade, so he never sees her face. But yeah, so he just shows up and he's like, no, Ella, I know what you look like. What are you doing? And the sisters are both like, no, it's my mask. As they are wont to do, because you have to. That's what happens in the story, is both the sisters try it on, and then Ella tries it on. But also, why? Why does he let them put on the glass slipper that he knows won't fit?
Yeah, why do you even bother?
Okay, whatever. They both try it on. It doesn't fit. They put it on Ella. Oh my goodness, it's you. We're gonna get married, which he's been really blunt about up to this point, and like we said, married at some other point. But she keeps being coy about it, which is 16.
Yeah. I did like the whole, I'm too young for marriage.
I'm too this for marriage. I'm too that for marriage. Which comes around. He's making a joke that she's too young for marriage. And he asks her to marry him. And Ella's like, this is terrible. I could be used to hurt people. I would be in a position of power that people could use me as a pawn to harm the country, harm him. Like the stepmom and sister are already making plans. And the frankly dumber sister is like, you're going to give me literally all your money. And she has to. And so she's like, this is horrible. I'm not going to marry you. I have decided no. And it kind of takes her a little bit. I think she says no to 3 things before she's like, wait a second, I'm saying no.
I'm saying no, and it's working. Yeah.
Huh. And then she turns around to him. She's like, I'm so sorry about that. I was too young for marriage 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, that was a good joke.
But now I am the perfect age. And I loved that.
Yeah.
That built up through the whole story. And that paid off so well. Because you're like, how is this turning around?
Yeah.
This is literally the second to last page. What are we doing here? And so she does that. It's very cute. They get married in a month because of fantasy. Fake family is fake family and whatever, hate them. But hey, my friend from the other country is here, which is pretty cool. Lucinda gives her a physical gift instead of a curse gift.
A pretty bad A gift, too. She gets him a box of holding.
Yeah, a box of holding. Can hold literally whatever. Which, yeah, that's pretty great. Especially for all the traveling she does. Hattie gets social standing but doesn't marry, which seemed a little weird. Olive marries someone that's perfect for a glutton. Yay. Peter gets rich again and only travels and never sees his wife. And Char keeps saving him by bailing him out.
Yeah, that did kind of suck.
Which was lame, and if I was a taxpayer, I'd be pretty pissed off about that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't come up. Mandy becomes the castle cook. Nancy, who is mentioned once, who is a servant of the dames, but screw the other 3 from the beginning of the book that were part of her father's household. They're not important. We don't hear ever about them ever again. But Nancy gets the supervisor position. And then Ella doesn't become a princess, but a court linguist?
Yeah, the whole, like, I'm gonna shun it. I'm like,
You're still a princess, though.
Yeah.
You're still going to be queen, but oh well. That's a very 16-year-old way to look at it. But decides to travel with Char always and just leaves the kids behind. Which I'm like, aren't you kind of repeating here? Pulling your dad on your kids? Except it's both parents that they never get to see now. I hope that they take them with them when they're older.
I do think they said that. That was the implication of once they could join them on their travels, they would.
They will do that. Because I was like, don't pull your dad on them. Especially with all the fairy stuff. Like, you don't pull your dad on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ends. His parents don't even die. So they're just still prince and princess and they travel around and stuff. None of that in the movie.
None of it. It's wild.
The movie might even be less inspired by Cinderella than most of this book. If we had watched the movie, what would there be to compare, really?
Yeah, honestly, again, it's inspired by, not based on.
We like that, so we're gonna pay for the rights. Okay. It's a great movie. I'm down for it. Honest to goodness, might have found the only movie that I'm like, I love this way better than the book. But yeah, I feel like if you were growing up and you read it in 97 and then the movie came out and you went and saw it and you were hoping it would be like the book.
Oh, but yeah, very disappointed.
What the crap was that?
Yeah.
But maybe you also liked it. I don't know. Sometimes I like the book and the movie separately for separate reasons, but I enjoy both of them.
This is definitely not. And again, like I go back to the award and everything. This is not something I would let my middle school daughter read at this point. It does not age well, unfortunately.
It has not aged well. General thoughts. The level of fat shaming in this book?
It's bad.
And like I said, Fairest is worse.
That's scary.
Oh my gosh, it's awful. The book is all about, oh my gosh, she's so freaking ugly, but at least her eyes are pretty. And so much other stuff. And there's so much self-hate. And like I said, she's kind of dwarfish, so she has dwarf blood somehow. And so she's built more like a dwarf than as a tiny fairy. And it's so much. So this book definitely did it better. We've on this channel gone back and read like classic books that got awards. Newbery Book Awards. Let me look.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
So let's go back. Oh, wow. Okay, so the award started in 1922.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And since then, it looked like for a while they only did one a year. Like in 1923, The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle. Classic tales like that. 1938, they start having the book and then like an honorary pick. And then in the 40s, they have more honors. Charlotte's Web was a 1953 honors book. They lost out to Secret of the Andes. Old Yeller was 1957.
A winner?
No, it was the honor book. That's crazy. There are so many of the honor books that I recognize way more than, but it's an honor. It's been around. A Wrinkle in Time, 1963.
Yep.
That one. Okay, so on the channel, we have done the 1972 medal winner, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim.
Okay.
Which inspired The Rats of Nim, which is a Don Bluth movie.
Okay, I feel like I've heard of The Rats of Nim.
And I stand by that book. I really enjoy it. I'd totally let my kid read it. The main character in a children's book is a mom, which is really cool because that just never happens. I stand by the book. I think it's really good. I think it's better than the movie. Oh, Bridge to Terabithia was a 78 winner. So we've done Newbery Awards and other awards and stuff, but yeah, kind of with you, where I'm like, what was coming out that year that this was the best of the best?
So, okay, so this is the Wikipedia. The John Newbery Medal is frequently just shortened to the Newbery. Is an award given by the Association for Library Services to Children to the author of the, quote, most distinguished contributions to American literature for children.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you got Hatchet on here as an honor book in 1988. 1994, The Giver, straight on, taught in schools. You know, that's the thing that I'm at. It's like Hatchet, that's in schools. Charlotte Webb's in schools. They're literally taught as literature. Sarah Playton Tall's taught in schools. Holes, 1999, taught in schools because of Winn-Dixie.
Classic.
Hoot, which I stand by. We've done Tale of Despero, which is a 2004 winner. I like the book better than the movie, but the movie was pretty trash, so that doesn't say much. My co-star loved it, though. So we are not shy about these books.
Yeah.
I wish I had read it in middle school so I could have had that middle schooler perspective. Yeah, putting Ella Enchanted on the same level as Hatchet and The Giver.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird.
That's a little weird. I don't know. Like I said, I really like the concept of it, that Cinderella is obedient because she has a curse. I love whenever a retelling will add its own spin on it and the author has clearly sat down and meditated or whatever. I don't know, one day had an idea and ran with it. Not a huge fan of the execution. Yeah, I wouldn't want my daughter reading it. I think there are much better books, which one of the books I immediately think of is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking.
Oh, yeah.
Fantasy book, young magic girl. Ridiculous over-the-top magic. And so I'd rather her read books like that, where the question of, why am I having to do this? Why aren't the adults being the responsible ones? Why are children the question comes up, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great question. And she actually has issues with stuff, and I don't know. I think there are better books to be reading. I know some people think this is the paramount of Cinderella, but I don't know. I read Lunar Chronicles before this. I'd take Lunar Chronicles over this any day of the week.
No, there's too many versions of Cinderella to really choose. Even if you just narrow down a movie version, I don't think this trumps some of the early 2000s ones, the Hilary Duff version of Cinderella or...
Cinderella Story.
A Cinderella Story, yeah.
Honestly, the 2000s had a thing for Cinderella.
Yeah, it did.
Roger and Hammerstein did the Cinderella, who was a black woman, which she is gorgeous. And then we get another Cinderella story in 2008 with Selena Gomez.
Yep.
But yeah, Cinderella is just a love. And then, of course, the 2021 with Camila Cabello, we don't talk about.
No.
So there's just so many. You got a point. There's so many. We have them. They're everywhere. They're continuous. I don't know. As a Cinderella fan,
Yeah.
As a love for retellings, I like the concept, not all of the execution. The book's kind of short, which is nice. It's not like Fairest, which made me angry and I felt deeply problematic. Did not like that. So I ended up with like a 3-star in this, which might, I don't know. I never know when it's controversial to be like meh on a children's classic. Sometimes it's no one cares, and then sometimes it's the end of the world because how dare you say one bad thing? How dare you? So I never know. So I don't know how controversial that is as a thought, that it's kind of meh. It hasn't aged that well as compared to other Newbery Awards. I think they are better.
Yeah.
I literally read The Giver for a college course.
Yes. But to be fair, we didn't realize this is a Newbery honor, not a winner. So
I don't know. That's still such a big thing. 1 pick and then 3 books as honors. So 4 books out of all of the books published in 1997, because they got it in 1998.
it was what it was. Just still not a great one.
It was what it was. It was short.
We're waiting on a really good one to just kind of help us out.
Not the break that I thought we would get after Nightmare Before Christmas.
No.
Unfortunately. But then again, that happened to us last time when we were like, let's take a break and see what Alex Michaelides is up to. And then we were like,
woof.
Yeah, Liz Braswell's looking really good right now.
Yes.
Alas. Oh well. One question for the author. I'd be really curious if she's very into Grimm or Hans Christian Andersen.
Yeah, because there are elements of both.
Yeah. And those are pretty classic ones. Grimm gives us Snow White, Cinderella, which obviously they both used for this series because, like I said, it's Ella Enchanted and then it's Fairest. But Hans Christian Andersen gets you The Little Mermaid, The Ice Queen, which became Frozen, and a bunch of other ones as well. I think Ugly Duckling, which is a huge component of Stitch. So yeah, I'd be curious if she would be more interested in the Grimm fairy tales or Hans Christian Andersen, or if she has a top 5 that's a mix between.
I was going to say what are the criteria for the awards for this, but I think we talked about that, so I would diverge my question to how did your life change after this, right? Because like you said, had a good life, did a lot of stuff, and she was very not super well known, and then she publishes a book. Within a year, it gets a Newbery honor. With 6 more years later, there's a film with Anne Hathaway, for Pete's sake, in it. This has just launched her career.
Oh yeah, this is definitely an example of traditional. She could never if she self-published, especially in 1997.
No.
Today you could self-publish and be successful, but yeah, traditional publisher was like, yeah, we're gonna submit this to the Newbery and we're gonna help you out and all that stuff. So definitely helps. That's kind of crazy for her first book. I'd be curious how she comes back from that. I don't think any of her other books were Newbery Awards. How does that feel starting on the top like that?
Yeah, exactly. And then where did you go from there?
Or is she just like, cool, I found my people, the people stay, and it's fine because they enjoy my stuff? Or is that like super high and not disappointing, but how do you cope with that? Your first book being that successful.
This is national acclaim level stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So that would also be an interesting conversation. That would have to be like super honest though. So I don't know, but yeah, how do you cope with that?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because she has gone on to write plenty of books.
Yeah, she kept writing.
Rating, I'd give this a children's play out of 10, where you kind of feel obligated to go. I'm assuming you're related to the child you're seeing the play of, and you go and they're doing Aladdin Jr., Dear Good Man Charlie Brown, the Madagascar Jr. or whatever. But it's some IP. It's not like a Shakespeare play. It's some sort of modern IP, and you have to go because you're related to the child, and you watch the play and you're like, the child I am related to is doing very well, but the rest of you are terrible. Jokes and bias aside. But you watch it and you're like, sitting down and watching the movie would have been much better. I feel like obviously it's knockoff, whatever it is. So that's kind of how I feel reading this. It feels like knockoff Cinderella.
Yeah.
But a little worse. But I did it. Obligation met. I felt the need in my soul to do so.
Yeah, we tried.
Definitely give it a try. I have done it. Like I said, I think it's better that I've done it and know for a fact than have wandered.
Been questioned. I'm trying to think of a rating that's not too harsh or dark. I wanted chocolate cake, but all they had was white out of 10 because of all the white cake that they talk about.
Oh my gosh, they really do.
All the time.
One of the stepsisters is obsessed with white cakes.
Yeah.
Read again? No.
No.
I don't really want to own it anymore either. I'm just going to give it to the used bookstore. Someone can pick it up.
My first one that I borrowed from the library, so I don't have to own it.
But have you read this book? What's your favorite fairy tale retelling? We're not even going to limit you to Cinderella, any of them.
Yeah.
As long as it's not the Frankenstein contemporary romance, we'll be okay. That's a whole thing. But do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit like, and if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Ella Enchanted with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Caitlin.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape Movie Book Club is a Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.